So jumping back to the experiences on set. I mean, you are 13, right?
When we shot the movie, I was 13.
That blows my mind. So what was that experience like? Was it, were you more like summer campy, or did it feel more like, hey, this is a big challenging movie?
A lot of people think it was like, that had been the most fun set, and you guys got to hang out and play around and do. And honestly, was it fun? Yes, it was a fantastic experience. But a little something about making a movie. It's all business.
Yeah.
And you have to know what you're doing. And nobody likes to work with kids because they're a pain in the ass. And that's why you don't work with kids or animals or special effects. And this movie had all three of those.
Yeah.
And it's tough. You never know what you're going to get with kids. You never know what you get with a kid on set, let alone 5 of them.
Yeah.
Of different ages. It's not only what you're going to get from the individuals, there's so many rules and regulations and laws that you have to abide by. We can only be on set, depending on how old you are, a certain number of hours a day. You can only be in front of the camera even less hours than those numbers.
Right.
You have to go to school for 3 hours a day, and that all fits in your gross time. It's a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
So when you're the kid on the set, you really almost have an added responsibility because everybody's looking at you like, do not screw up our day. Like, don't
Keep
don't
this schedule,
be a kid.
kid.
Like, don't screw it up. So you almost have to be even more professional. I know most kid actors are more professional than most adult actors that I've seen on set. It's crazy. And I think we, enjoyed our time, but we showed up and we were professionals, and you have to know what you're doing. Figure out where you are in the day, because you don't shoot movies in sequence.
Right.
You're like, okay, here we are in this story. This is what's happening here, so we got to look and feel like this way. This is what and you got to say words that'll make sense later on when it's all in sequence.
Right.
And I think we all brought a natural ability. I think we all brought a natural naivete and innocence that came around. But I think everybody also knocked it out of the park as actors,
As far as their professionalism.
as far as their professional,
Right.
performances.
Yeah.
But it wasn't always. It was fun. We had fun too.
Yeah.
But the fun is in the spaces. The fun is in the spaces and
Between
and
the
after.
work.
And, yeah.
Right. Anybody out there for questions?
I can't see.
Yes,
Is there
step
somebody?
right up. I
Yes,
couldn't tell. It
I
looks
can't
like we
either.
have
I've
maybe
got
one or two.
We've got that stage light in. We got
Yes,
these in the car.
totally.
Great. It's fun.
I didn't want to steal your question and keep going on. So.
I wanted to ask you, was like working with Duncan Reeder, who played Duncan. We've seen him in a couple things, and he just has this like really a sort of magnetic stage presence that you can't sort of look away from. And I was wondering if he's that engrossing, that you just sort of can't like get a read on.
There's kind of two separate answers I'm gonna give you. One's kind of the pissant joke answer that I give when I get asked that question. He asked, "What was it like to work with Duncan Reeder?"
Yep.
It's the same answer when people say, "What was it like to work with Tom Noonan?" But your question was Duncan. I have no idea what it was like to work with Duncan. I worked with Dracula.
He was always there? Is that what you mean?
Duncan and Tom decided on almost different levels of the gauge, but Duncan decided to approach his days as, I don't ever want to be near the kids
Create that
at
separation.
lunch or on my own, out of costume or out of character.
Amazing.
So we just never saw him. Tom Noonan took it to a whole other level and said, he's a super method actor, as he was like, I'm never going to not be Frankenstein's monster for 3 months. And even in downtime, Duncan would leave and then come back. Like, we had to break and remove the camera, Duncan would leave and come back. He didn't linger around us. Tom Noonan would sit there and wait an hour for the lights to move and have a conversation with Ryan going, ugh. And we were like, what is going on? And there's a funnier story with Noonan, but the second part of the answer, that's the jokey, fun part. He's fantastic. And you're right. You said a magnetism or a magnetic personality. You're spot on. I've always said he has this regal presence around him. And I just watched this episode of Star Trek Next Generation this week. It's fantastic. You're like, he needs no makeup. He just looks like an otherworldly, god, right? Even as Zorro, he was fantastic. I mean, he's amazing. Still is. And by the way, still has that presence. and will still intimidate you. And have you seen the documentary yet?
Not yet.
You're about to.
Yeah.
You're going to see Duncan on a giant drive-in movie theater screen, and he says a line when he says something, and we were shooting, I went, oh my God.
Chills.
And I wasn't even in the room when he said it. I saw it in the camera. I was like, oh. I was like, this guy's still scary.
It's amazing.
It's just the present, but he's super intelligent. He's an artist. He's a painter. He has his own wine. He's a vintner. I'm like,
life.
come on.
It's the life, baby.
He has an art book of his own works. I'm like, whatever, dude. You are Dracula. I think you actually are Dracula. You've been walking around for like 200 years. Who has their own wine? And there's an oil painting and come on.
Yeah.
And still super nice guy. Very giving. Opens, goes to events. Super nice. And loves the fact that people appreciate what many of us consider one of the better Draculas on camera.
Oh yeah, for sure.
What was your name?
I'm Alex.
Hey, thank you, Alan. Appreciate it. Thanks for being here.